Number 1. Why 97% of Egyptians live on one thin green line. The land of pyramids, mummies, and immortal kings is actually a country that is almost entirely desert. Scorching sun that burns the skin, blistering hot winds and rain, as rare as a shooting star. Without the Nile River, the glorious Egypt we know today might never have existed. The Nile is the silent hero, the river that has nurtured 95 to 97% of the population who crowd along its banks. Seen from above, Egypt appears as a thin, green streak, running through an endless sea of golden sand. On one side is life, on the other, a lifeless desert. This is Egypt, a place where two opposite worlds coexist in the most extraordinary way. Exploring Egypt feels like turning the pages of nature's own book. In the west lies the White Desert, where the wind has carved white rock formations into giant mushroom forests, ghostly castles and stone elephants, making you feel like you've stepped into a science fiction movie. In the heart of the desert, suddenly appears Siwa Oasis, with sparkling salt lakes, bubbling hot springs, and the distinct Amazigh Berber culture that feels worlds away from the bustling streets of Cairo. And then there's Wadi al-Hitan, which leaves you in awe. Right in the middle of golden sand lies an entire graveyard of whale fossils, a powerful reminder that this barren land was once the bottom of a vast ancient ocean. Heading east, the scenery changes completely. The Red Sea glows with vibrant coral reefs. The Sinai Peninsula rises majestically with rugged mountains, ancient St. Catherine's Monastery, and historic trade routes that once connected three continents. But what makes Egypt truly alive is not its ancient monuments, but the way the past keeps rising again and again. The country is home to 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites: Memphis and the Pyramid Fields, from Giza to Dashur; ancient Thebes, historic Cairo; the Nubian monuments from Abu Simbel to Philae, St. Catherine area, and Wadi al-Hitan. The pyramids of Giza are not isolated in a remote desert. As many movies suggest, they stand right next to modern city life, creating a scene that is both mystical and strikingly close to the present. The ancients built tombs, mummified bodies, and carved hieroglyphs, not just to preserve their names, but to prepare for the afterlife. And today, that history is still not over. In 2026, archaeologists made headlines when they uncovered an entire well-preserved Byzantine city in Dakhla Oasis, complete with planned streets, churches, bakeries, coins, and pottery shards, recording everyday transactions. Meanwhile, the Grand Egyptian Museum near the Pyramids of Giza officially opened to the public at the end of 2025, offering the most modern exhibition space with the complete collection of Tutankhamun's treasures. Egypt is not a place where the past is buried and forgotten. It is a land where the past is still being unearthed every day, blending seamlessly with the present to become the living identity of its people. Before we begin exploring, tell me, what country are you watching from and what time is it there right now? It's always fascinating to see where in the world this journey reaches. Are you ready to let Egypt change you? Number 2. Beauty behind the veil of prejudice. Behind the mysterious beauty of Egypt, there are not only pyramids, the Nile River, or powerful queens from history, but also the image of modern women who are quietly overcoming many social prejudices in search of their voice, respect, and the right to live according to their own choices. Egyptian women today still face major challenges related to gender inequality, mainly rooted in patriarchal thinking and conservative cultural and religious norms. Although society has changed in many ways, the gap between the law and real life remains quite clear. Domestic violence is a painful issue, as the mindset of favoring men over women still exists strongly in many families. Many women suffer abuse from their husbands, but struggle to find support from the law and the community because society still accepts the idea that a man has the right to discipline his wife. Similarly, Sexual harassment in the streets and on social media remains common, even though the government has increased penalties. However, law enforcement is still limited because victim blaming remains fairly widespread. In marriage and family matters, women are often placed at a disadvantage. Regulations on marriage, divorce, and child custody still tend to favor men, making it difficult for many women to escape unhappy marriages. Economically, the rate of women participating in the workforce remains low, especially in rural areas. They are often limited in job opportunities, vulnerable to labor exploitation, and have less power in making decisions about property and inheritance. Another sensitive and painful issue is the practice of female genital mutilation, also known as FGM. Although it has long been banned, reality shows that this practice still exists in some rural areas due to false beliefs about purity and tradition. All of this shows that the journey toward gender equality in Egypt is still long and full of challenges. Although the younger generation, especially in major cities, is gradually speaking up and changing perceptions, real progress requires stronger collective action from the law, education, and a deeper transformation in social thinking. What do you think about this journey? Do Egyptian women today make you feel admiration or concern? Leave your comment below. Number 3. Where faith, family, and daily life become one. When talking about the people and lifestyle of Egypt, it is impossible not to mention the deep intersection between Islamic beliefs, family traditions, and the pressures of modern life. This is a society where traditional values still play a central role while gradually adapting to the pace of urban life and globalization. Around 90% of Egypt's population are Sunni Muslims, and this religion strongly influences almost every aspect of daily life, from the modest clothing worn by many women and the 5 daily prayer times to dietary rules such as avoiding pork and alcohol. Islam shapes the rhythm of people's lives. Every morning and evening, the voice of the muezzin from mosques echoes throughout the city, reminding people to pause and turn toward God. Even in the crowded areas of Cairo, one can still see temporary prayer spaces in offices, markets, or on the metro. Alongside religion, family is a core value and the center of Egyptian life. Egyptians place great importance on blood ties and extended family relationships. Multiple generations often live together or close to one another, sharing the responsibility of caring for children and the elderly. Respecting parents and grandparents is seen as a sacred duty. Family meals, especially on weekends or during festivals, often last for a long time and become occasions for people to gather, talk, and share stories. Even when children grow up and start families of their own, their connection with their parents usually remains very strong. However, this traditional lifestyle is gradually facing changes brought by modern socio-economic pressures. Life in major cities, such as Cairo and Alexandria, is becoming faster and more expensive. Many young families have to deal with high housing cost inflation and work pressure. Women are increasingly joining the workforce, but many still carry the main responsibility for housework. The tension between tradition and modernity creates distinctive traits in the character of Egyptian people. They preserve the warmth and hospitality of the traditional family, while also becoming flexible and resilient in adapting to the fast pace of urban life. Egyptian people are defined by a harmonious combination of religious devotion, deep family affection, and the ability to endure and adapt to the challenges of the times. These characteristics have created a unique identity for Egypt, one that is both traditional and full of vitality. Number 4. Where ancient heritage lives in every breath. Egyptian culture is one of the most unique and richly layered cultures in the world, standing out through its unusual blend of mysterious, ancient heritage and modern Islamic traditions. Unlike many other countries, Egypt does not simply preserve its heritage. It allows that heritage to live alongside contemporary life in a natural and harmonious way. Ancient Egyptian civilization left a deep mark through its remarkable achievements in astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and hieroglyphic writing. The ancient Egyptians regarded the pharaoh as the son of a god, a bridge between the divine and humanity. Their belief in the afterlife was clearly reflected in their sophisticated mummification techniques and monumental structures such as the pyramids of Giza, the Great Sphinx, Karnak Temple, and the Valley of the Kings. These sites are not merely architectural works, but also evidence of a civilization that worshipped immortality and cosmic order. When Islam became the dominant religion, followed by around 90% of the population, Egypt underwent a fascinating transformation. The voice of the muezzin echoes 5 times a day. Ancient mosques stand alongside pharaonic monuments in Arab culture, with its famous hospitality has shaped a distinctive identity. Egyptians place great importance on family respect for the elderly and community relationships. Family meals, especially during festivals, are often moments when people gather, connect, and share with one another. What makes Egyptian culture different from many others is its ability to harmonize different layers of time. While many ancient cultures have faded away or remain only inside museums in Egypt, you can stand before the pyramids in the morning and just a few hours later, sit in a traditional cafe listening to the call to prayer echoing through the city. Egyptian cuisine is also a vivid example of this cultural fusion, from Koshari, ful madams, and ta'amiyah, to dishes influenced by Arab and Mediterranean traditions. In short, Egyptian culture is not a single-colored picture, but a multi-layered canvas, where a glorious past and a vibrant present blend in a remarkable way. That is why Egypt is not only a travel destination, but also a place that makes visitors reflect on the journey of a people through thousands of years of history. Number 5. Stuffed pigeon koshari and Egypt's strangest flavors. One of the more surprising things about Egyptian cuisine is that pigeons, birds, often seen as symbols of peace, are the star ingredient in a very popular traditional dish. That dish is called hammam mashi, or stuffed pigeon. However, these are not wild street pigeons as many people might imagine. In Egypt, pigeons are specially raised, particularly in rural areas. Farmers choose young pigeons for their tender meat. After cleaning, the birds are stuffed with a mixture of rice or frike, green cracked wheat, chopped onions, liver, black pepper, cinnamon dill, and a blend of signature spices. The stuffed pigeons are briefly boiled until tender, then roasted or grilled until the skin turns golden and crispy. Another must-try dish for anyone visiting Egypt is koshari. At first glance, it sounds like an odd combination: rice, pasta, lentils, chickpeas, crispy fried onions all topped with tomato sauce, garlic, vinegar, and chili. It may look like everything thrown into one bowl, but koshari has become an iconic street food of Egypt. It is not a dish for the elite, it is the food of working people, crowded eateries, and quick, but filling lunches. And that's exactly what makes it special, from cheap, simple, and everyday ingredients. Egyptians have created a dish with a very strong character. If koshari represents street life, then ful madams is the soul of breakfast. This is a dish of slow-cooked fava beans, usually served with olive oil, lemon garlic, dill, fresh vegetables, and flatbread. For many Egyptians, the day begins simply: a hot plate of ful, a few pieces of bread, and some pickled vegetables. It's nothing fancy, but it provides enough energy for a long day in a noisy, bustling city. Alongside ful is ta'amiyah, the Egyptian version of falafel. Unlike many other places that use chickpeas, Egyptian ta'amiyah is made from fava beans mixed with fresh herbs and deep-fried until golden and crispy. The outside is crunchy, while the inside remains soft and fragrant with spices. Stuffed into bread with vegetables, tahini sauce, and pickles, it becomes a complete and satisfying street meal. In the end, Egyptian cuisine is not just about filling the stomach. It is the way a people have transformed the harshness of the desert into flavor identity and a story of survival that has lasted for thousands of years. Number 6. One country, thousands of festivals, millions of colors. Egypt is not only home to pyramids and mummies, it is also a festival paradise with celebrations so unique that they are hard to find anywhere else in the world. One of the oldest and most fascinating festivals is Sham el-Nassim, a spring celebration with a history of more than 4,500 years. Although it originated in the time of the pharaohs today, Egyptians, whether Muslim or Coptic Christian, still celebrate it together. Families head to the banks of the Nile parks or any open space for picnics. They bring salted fish, known as fasik painted eggs, and green vegetables foods that symbolize the welcoming of new life in the middle of Egypt's harsh desert environment. When Ramadan arrives, Egypt seems to put on a new and colorful coat. It is not only the fasting month for Muslims, but also a season of light and connection. The streets sparkle with thousands of beautiful, famous lanterns. Every sunset, families gather and wait for the call to prayer before breaking their fast together with a warm iftar meal. During the day, the city becomes quieter, but at night it comes alive with laughter music and charitable activities spreading everywhere. Another highly distinctive festival with a strong Sufi spirit is the Molid of Al-Sayyid al-Badawi in the city of Tanta. Hundreds of thousands of pilgrims gather to honor the Islamic saint Ahmad al-Badawi. They sing religious chants, perform zikr rituals, pray, and connect with the community in an atmosphere that is both sacred and lively. This is not only a religious occasion, but also a time for people to find comfort and connection with one another. And of course, it is impossible not to mention the Sun Festival at Abu Simbel Temple, one of the most extraordinary astronomical events on the planet. Twice a year in February and October, sunlight passes through the entrance of the temple and shines directly onto the statues of Ramses II and the gods. That moment seems to take visitors back to the great wisdom of the ancient Egyptians. These festivals reveal a multi-layered Egypt, a country that preserves a heritage thousands of years old, while remaining full of vitality and human warmth. They are not only occasions for celebration, but also a bridge connecting Egypt's glorious past with the colorful present of its people. Number 7. Breathtakingly beautiful, unbelievably strange. In Egypt, the past does not stay inside museums. It stands in the middle of the desert beside modern cities and still makes the whole world look up in awe. Behind those familiar symbols lies a much stranger Egypt, a place where the desert was once an ocean, where sunlight can pass through an ancient temple at exactly the right time of year, and where just a few steps can take you from the world of the pharaohs to the modern rhythm of Cairo. The journey begins in Giza, where the pyramids and the Great Sphinx have stood for more than 4,500 years. What surprises many visitors is that this complex is not isolated in the middle of the desert as movies often portray it. It stands very close to modern Cairo, where cars, houses, and high-rise buildings continue to move and grow every day. That contrast creates a truly special feeling on one side, an ancient wonder. On the other, modern urban life, as if the past and the present are standing together in the same frame. From Giza, if you follow the Nile southward, you will reach Luxor, often described as the world's greatest open-air museum. This was once the glorious city of Thebes, the capital of ancient Egypt, where temples and tombs still tell the stories of the pharaohs in stone. The massive Karnak Temple, the majestic Luxor Temple, the mysterious Valley of the Kings, and the Temple of Hatshepsut, nestled beneath the cliffs, all make visitors feel as if they are stepping into a giant epic. Every stone column and every wall, covered in hieroglyphs, feels like a page of history that has never truly closed. At Abu Simbel, the colossal statues of Ramses II, carved directly into the mountainside, create an overwhelming sense of power. What makes it even more remarkable is that twice a year in February and October, sunlight passes through the temple entrance and reaches deep inside, touching the statues of the king and the gods. That moment is not only beautiful, but also proves how astonishingly well the ancient Egyptians understood the skylight and architecture. Leaving the temples behind Egypt opens up into a completely different world. In the middle of the dry desert, Wadi al-Hitan, the Valley of the Whales preserves fossils of ancient whales, proving that this land was once an ocean. The White Desert looks like an alien planet, with chalk rock formations shaped by the wind into mushrooms, castles, and animal-like figures. Meanwhile, the Siwa Oasis offers a strangely peaceful beauty, with shimmering salt lakes, hot springs, and a distinctive Amazigh culture in the middle of an endless sea of sand. Most striking of all is the City of the Dead. This is Al-Kharafa, one of the largest and oldest Islamic cemeteries in the world. What makes it unusual is that it contains not only graves and ancient mausoleums, but also tens of thousands of poor residents who live there. They use the space around the tombs as homes, kitchens, small shops, and places to maintain their daily lives. Among solemn historical remains, the image of the living, quietly struggling to survive, creates a Cairo that is both mysterious and deeply haunting. Egypt is not just a destination. It is a journey through time where every landscape makes you feel as if you are touching a profound part of human history. Number 8. The trade gateway between three continents. If Egypt, in the eyes of tourists, is the land of pyramids, the Nile River, and ancient temples, then economically, Egypt is a country standing at many major crossroads. On one side is enormous potential, and on the other are very real pressures of everyday life. What makes Egypt especially important is its location. The country does not only sit between Africa and the Middle East, it also controls one of the most important maritime routes on the planet, the Suez Canal. Every day, thousands of ships pass through this route, connecting Europe with Asia and turning Egypt into a crucial point in global trade. Suez does not only bring in major foreign currency revenue, it also serves as a reminder that Egypt holds a strategic position few other countries can possess. But if Suez is Egypt's gateway to the world, then the Nile is its inner lifeline. In a country that is mostly desert, the Nile has nourished people, agriculture, and cities for thousands of years. Along both banks of the river are where most of the population, farmland, and economic life are concentrated. From cotton and wheat to fruits and vegetables, many productive activities still depend on this river. In other words, without the Nile, Egypt would hardly be the Egypt we know today. Alongside traditional foundations, such as agriculture, oil, and gas remittances and tourism, Egypt is trying to move into a new chapter. Heritage sites such as the pyramids of Giza, Luxor, and Abu Simbel still attract millions of visitors to the country. But Egypt understands that relying only on tourism and natural resources is not enough. That is why in recent years, information technology, digital services, data centers outsourcing, and young startups in Cairo and Alexandria have gradually become an important part of the country's new economic picture. What makes Egypt's transformation interesting is that it is not simple. This remains an economy in which the state and the military play a deep role, where the free market exists alongside strong government control. While some areas are modernizing rapidly, many people still face inflation, unemployment, rising living costs, and inequality. This is the other side of development, making Egypt's economic story far more complex than growth figures alone can show. For that reason, Egypt's economy is much like the country itself, ancient, yet modern, full of potential, yet burdened with pressure. From the Nile and the Suez Canal to emerging technology cities, Egypt is trying to move beyond the image of being only a land of heritage and become an important economic and technological hub in the region. Whether it succeeds or not, this journey will determine where Egypt stands on the world map in the decades to come. Number 9. Behind Egypt's ancient beauty lies the struggle to make a living. The cost of living in Egypt is relatively low to lower middle, compared with many countries around the world, but it has its own distinctive characteristics. According to 2026 indicators, living costs in Cairo are only about 35 to 45% of those in the United States. 50 to 60% of those in Europe, and slightly lower than in Thailand or Vietnam. A single person can live relatively comfortably on around 500 to 750 US dollars per month, including housing, food, transportation, and basic expenses. What makes the cost of living in Egypt particularly distinctive is the large gap between urban and rural areas, as well as between basic needs and premium services. Street food is extremely cheap, with meals such as full koshari, or bread costing only around 1 to 2 US dollars. Rent in the suburbs of Cairo usually ranges from 250 to 450 US dollars per month. However, if one chooses to live in central areas, use international healthcare services, or send children to international schools, expenses can rise sharply. Compared with other countries, one of Egypt's most notable features is high inflation and frequent price fluctuations. Although the average income of local people is low at around 200 to 400 US dollars per month, some imported goods and modern services can be quite expensive. Foreigners earning income in foreign currencies such as US dollars or euros often find Egypt very affordable and easy to live in. By contrast, for local residents, living costs have become an increasing burden, especially housing, utilities, and food. In short, Egypt is one of the countries with a relatively affordable cost of living, especially suitable for foreigners working remotely or those with stable income in foreign currency. However, the gap between living standards and the purchasing power of local people remains one of the major challenges facing Egypt's economy today. Number 10. Egypt isn't what the world thinks it is. Egypt is a place that leaves people both overwhelmed and thoughtful. Overwhelmed because here, the past has never truly disappeared. It still stands in the middle of the desert in the form of the pyramids of Giza, the Great Sphinx, the temples of Luxor and Abu Simbel, and hieroglyphs covering ancient stone walls. But it also makes people wonder, because right beside those glorious legacies, modern Egyptian life continues with many everyday pressures. The Nile River once nourished ancient Egyptian civilization, and even today, it remains the lifeline of the country. In a land where most of the territory is desert, Egyptians gather along this river to live, farm, trade, and build their cities. That is why Egypt's nature is full of contrasts: dry deserts, the peaceful Siwa oasis, the white desert that looks like another planet, and the Red Sea with its dazzling coral reefs. But Egypt is not shaped by landscapes alone. Its people are deeply connected to family, faith, and community. Festivals such as Sham el-Nassim Ramadan and the Sun Festival reveal a cultural life that is both ancient and vibrant. Egyptian cuisine reflects the same spirit, from Koshari full madams and ta'ameya to stuffed pigeon. Every dish carries a piece of everyday life and long history. However, behind that beauty are issues that cannot be ignored. Egyptian women still have to overcome many social prejudices. Local people face pressure from living cost inflation and the gap between rich and poor. The economy has major advantages from the Suez Canal, tourism, and technology, but it is still trying to balance great potential with real challenges. One more interesting piece of information: as of July 10, 2026, Egypt has had a memorable World Cup campaign, even though the team stopped at the round of 16 after a 3-2 defeat to Argentina. Before that, Mohamed Salah's national team impressed many people by going unbeaten in the group stage and creating a strong sense of pride among fans at home. The match against Argentina also sparked controversy over several refereeing decisions, but Salah was praised for his calm attitude and sportsmanship. For Egypt, this was not just about football, but also a rare moment of unity amid many economic and social pressures. For that reason, Egypt is not only a country to admire, but also a place that makes us reflect. So when you look at Egypt, what do you notice the most? Its legendary beauty, the resilience of its people, or the pressures behind its world-famous wonders? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.